All right, so we're going to finish up this little part here. This is the last little bit on the Gilded Age, so we can actually move into another thing. Now, there exists another school of thought, and it's called a separatist. This is a Ukrainian separatist. If you don't know what's going on in the Ukraine, basically Russia annexed what was called the Crimean Peninsula, belonged to the Ukraine. They thought it belonged to them, and there's actually kind of a semi-civil war going on there, in which we and Russia are both involved. It's calmed down since then, but there's still some little fightings. So a separatist actually believes where they should actually form a separate society outside of normal society. They want their own culture, okay? And a separate but equal. The KKK would be a separatist society, and this next man we're going to talk about is a separatist as well. He believed in having his own society. That man, outside of the KKK, is right here. His name is Marcus Garvey. Now, Marcus Garvey did not believe in the concept of the KKK, but in the fact that the KKK is separatist, so was Garvey. He said, fine, we don't want to be here. Now, he took separatism to a whole new level, right? So what I want you to get from Marcus Garvey, first off, he is a civil rights kind of dude. He does believe in equality, having equal rights. However, he thinks that it cannot be achieved in America. So, what does he do? We are going to emancipate, free ourselves from mental slavery, because whilst other might free the body, none ourselves can free the mind. And so what he actually does is he announces his policy in Harlem. He's in the pushing 1920s, if you will. And it's called Back to Africa. He got a little part of Africa known as Liberia. There it is, right? And if you want, and you're African American, and you want to go back to your homeland in this man's view, he's going to provide for it. Now, he takes it a step further. He bought his own steamship line called the Black Star Steamship Line that would take you back to Africa. He also had news publications that was known as the Negro World, in which he promoted his separatist views of going back to Africa. Look, Africa, the land of hope and promise for Negro peoples of the world. And so that's where we're going here. Marcus Garvey felt that, yes, this is going to happen, but we have to go back to Africa. All right? This is a concept that actually comes to fruition later on, and the idea is called black nationalism. Nationalism is where you take pride and you want your own country. Now, in this case, they took pride, they wanted their own country, just not on this continent. Okay? This is the flag of Liberia. Notice there are some glaring similarities, correct? And again, well, I showed you a thing of Liberia earlier on. Now, some people took Garvey's thing and understood it in the fact that, okay, I get what you're saying about the separatism, but I don't want to leave this country. I just want to leave where I am. And so the Great Migration will occur, and it'll be sped up maybe by Garvey. And so this is a map of the Great Migration in 1916 and 1930. And so you can see that they went from the south and they moved into these western exodusters, eventually left Kansas, Oklahoma for California. And then you have all these big cities up there that you can see: Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus. I mean, all just massive cities. And so the African Americans of the South maybe heeded the separatist thing and left the South to go and settle in the North. And why? Push and pull factors, right? What would push you away from the South? 40 acres and a mule, sharecropping, etc. What would pull you to these cities? They're a little more liberal. They like people going to college, things of that nature. Now, the two things I want you to get here, I want you to get I want you to get the goals of Marcus Garvey. Understand him very well. And then lastly here, list the push and pull factors of the Great Migration. I gave you some. See if you can come up with some others. Remember, push forces you to leave and pull draws you in. this is the end of the Gilded Age. The next thing we're going to pick up with is progressivism, and that's a fun little thing by itself.